Yeah, I think San Diego at the bottom of the division right now, man. They do got a number 3 pick. They got a playmaker, a difference maker on the defensive side. You know,
got that in the bag.
DeForest, Ramsey. You know. What happens if Tennessee doesn't pick Tunsil number 1, bro? Tunsil gonna play in San Diego.
I think that's probably the most logical landing spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how
He
the
not getting
Chargers
past
can
San Diego.
I don't see how the Chargers can pass him up.
Yeah. They got it.
So the division champ, the Super Bowl champs, bro.
Yeah. Denver Broncos.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna knock Denver because I don't think they were comfortable paying Brock Osweiler the money that he received. Number 1, number 2. When you win, you can't retain everybody. You know what I'm saying? They still got to work out that long-term deal with Von Miller. Obviously, losing Malik Jackson, Trevathan, that's big. But you go into this draft with a substantial crop of defensive prospects.
Yeah.
So while I don't necessarily think they'll be quite as dominant as they were last year, I still think they're going to be an upper echelon defense. I don't think that's going to necessarily change.
No, you got Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, those edges.
Talib Harris on the back end, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, your defense still be down.
They're still going to be good, and like I said, I expect them to replenish through this strong draft class. Now, what they have done is most recently they signed Russell Okung. It's a 5-year deal.
Yeah,
but it's a lot of verbiage in there, and I actually applaud John Elway for the job that he's done in terms of being the football czar for the Broncos, because Okung, while talented, can't stay healthy. So what they did is they gave him a really what's effectively a 1-year deal with 4 team options. You know what I mean? If Okung is healthy, he's going to get paid good money. We're talking about $10 to $12 million annually.
You know he did that deal by himself, right? That's what I read.
What do you mean? Okung being representing himself?
Yeah, he represented himself.
I don't know that he would have got any better with an agent.
Guaranteed money.
I don't know that he would have done any better with an agent.
Got some guaranteed money.
I mean, maybe, but not necessarily with contender. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you mentioned it. You just mentioned it. Like you kind of feel like he might have missed out on something there. You know, I don't know that his market was particularly hot like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's betting on himself. He's betting on himself. Yeah. You know, and he's certainly an improvement over what they had last year. Mind you, Ryan Clady was hurt. Mm-hmm. They're looking to move Ryan Clady because he won't take a pay cut. They also bring in Donald Stevenson. So those two guys actually figure to be Denver's starting offensive tackles moving into this new season. They lose Evan Mathis. I think that's probably. I mean, obviously outside of Malik Jackson and Danny Trevathan, I think Evan Mathis was huge. Like Evan Mathis has graded out as the top run blocking guard in the NFL by PFF for the last 5 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing that they're gonna need an offensive line to run block.
Right.
You know, with
that's
that defense, exactly. And they want to run the ball in that Kubiak offense.
Yeah.
You're gonna need those run blockers that can get out to the second level and pound the ball. So, you know, losing Evan Mathis is a big loss. So we just got to see, you know, what Denver will be next year. You know, I think the division, how it's shaping up to be, Denver is moving towards the rest of the pack, especially with what the Oakland Raiders have been doing. You know, the last 3 seasons. You know, they have Bruce Irvin opposite Khalil Mack now. They added offensive lineman from
Smelly.
Yeah,
they re-signed.
I can't say his name. Yeah.
But that's what you do, though. You push your names. That's what you do.
But,
Donald Penn. They brought in Donald Penn. They got Rodney Hudson a year ago.
Yeah, that offensive line is probably the best offensive line in football right now. In football? Oh yeah, Cowboys.
Yeah, so don't get carried away.
In the AFC. Let's
go
in the AFC.
Maybe in the AFC. You might be right about that. You might be right about that.
In the AFC.
Yeah.
So they're doing a lot of good things. You know, they probably get another running back to pair with Latavius Murray in the draft.
Right.
But you know what they have done the last 3 off seasons. You know they've been making a push.
They've been impressive.
The Kansas City Chiefs. You know they retained all their talent on defense. Derek Johnson, Tamba Ali, Jay Howe. You know they lost Sean Smith, but you know I think they'll address that position in the draft.
You think they probably address that first?
First round.
first round.
They probably go first round. This is the cornerback position's deep.
Right.
You know, they probably could get Mackenzie Alexander, Eli Apple, you know, Will Houston. So there's a lot of corners that could take Sean Smith's cornerback position.
I think if the Chiefs, mind you, they brought in. I think what the Chiefs did basically in free agency was retain their own talent. That's really what they did. They're a team that's built to win now, with some good young pieces as well. Obviously, you get Jamal Charles back, so that's probably the biggest free agent acquisition they could possibly have made.
There you go.
You got Tamba Ali, Derek Johnson. Those are mainstays in Kansas City. Jay Howard, most people don't know about him, but he's an excellent 5 technique. They bring in Mitchell Schwartz, who I think is actually an improvement to who we mentioned previously, Donald Stevenson. And they bring in Rod Streeter, another receiver, and I think while Streeter has flashed in Oakland, maybe a new scenery might actually do him well. But I think what they need to do, obviously, to your point, is probably address that secondary in the first round. Back-to-back years, you hit gold
with Marcus Peters.
You go back to that once again in a pretty deep cornerback class. But the guys that left are Tavon Branch, who looked good while he was healthy.
You talking about from Kansas City?
From Kansas City.
They got a lot of safeties.
But not everybody's under contract.
Yeah.
That's my point. Like Hussein Abdullah is still, he's still a free agent. So yes, they're right there, but they probably need to bring back, because right now, like I said, they lost Branch, they lost Sean Smith, but Abdullah's an unrestricted free agent. Marcus Cooper and Jamel Fleming are unrestricted free agents.
They just moved Fleming to safety. I think they got Fleming back in the
Okay. Like I said, and again, you always want to improve, but you can't leave the cupboard completely bare. What happens if Peters goes down? What happens if Eric Berry goes down? So they probably just need a little bit of depth there, but I expect them to address that position on the secondary in the first round. And then there's the Chargers.
I think
they're bringing up the rear.
I think they're the rear in that division.
But they have the best quarterback in the division as well.
Yes, and they need to protect that quarterback.
Yes.
They got him a speed weapon with Travis Benjamin.
Right.
I think he complements Keenan Allen very well.
Yes, he does.
Melvin Gordon in his second season, we're going to start to get to see what they drafted in the first round.
Sure.
I think it's the biggest problem for San Diego, on the offensive side of the ball, is that offensive lineman.
Right.
They had that number 3 pick. If Tunsil could somehow fall to number 3, that'd be a perfect landing spot, for the San Diego Chargers. Block better for Melvin Gordon. I think their offense would be fine. Defensively, that's the issue that they've been having the last couple seasons to me.
What's the issue on that defense? Because here's what they did in free agency. Or let's start with who departed. Ladarius Green, obviously offensively, Kendall Reyes, and Eric Weddle. And Eric Weddle's been a mainstay in that secondary for a long time. You got a number of defensive players here that aren't under contract, but they haven't necessarily signed with anyone. They do bring in Joe Barksdale, or I shouldn't say bring in, they re-signed Joe Barksdale. He was their best offensive lineman, so that was a good starting point. They got a lot more work to do, but they haven't really brought anybody else in on the offensive side of the ball as far as offensive linemen to improve the protection of Phillip Rivers. They bring in Travis Benjamin, as you mentioned. Dwight Lowry's, replacement level safety. Brandon Mebane may help with that run defense. I know that's been an issue in recent years. I think with Perriman in that starting lineup for the duration of the season, I think will certainly improve that defense. Casey Howard, I think
that's a good sign.
I think it's a good sign. I think it's a shrewd sign, and he may not necessarily live up to the billing outside the numbers, but we know what he's capable of inside the numbers. And you need at least 3 cornerbacks. You need somebody to man the slot. So they're bringing Casey Hayward on a friendly contract. But like you said, you mentioned Tunsil. I think certainly that's probably where you want to start, is by protecting Phillip Rivers. But if Tunsil's not there, there's 2 names that come to mind for me.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey,
DeForest Buckner.
There you go.
Those are the 3 players. And obviously, with the 3rd pick overall, they should be able to land at least one of those players.
Yeah.
So let's grade it. How have the Chargers done through free agency thus far?
I give them a solid C.
Okay.
I think they were average in free agency. I think the biggest signing was Travis Benjamin.
Yeah.
But they lost a lot of veterans, Eric Weddle and those players. So I give them a C.
Give them a C.
Yeah.
And what of the Raiders? They brought in Bruce Irvin, Kalichi Osmeli, Sean Smith. Their main departures were Taylor Mays, Jamarcus Webb. all I see them doing is adding talent, and they retained Donald Penn. So all I see them doing is adding talent. Yeah. And if they continue that trend of strong drafting, shrewd free agent signings, the Raiders are gonna make noise. They're gonna make noise. So what grade would you give the Raiders?
I'll give it like a B plus.
A B plus. Okay.
They've been having A's off seasons the last 3 seasons, and it's no different. But I give them a B plus for this one.
Okay. And the Chiefs.
I also give them. I give them a B plus. Retaining all the talent.
Just on the strength on that. Just on the strength of that. That makes sense. That makes sense because when you start to subtract stalwarts like Tamba Ali and Derek Johnson from the equation, mind you, they sign Eric Berry to the franchise tag. Like you keep your core in place. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to keep everybody, but they kept their core in place. So you're saying solid B there.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually really like the Mitchell Schwartz pickup. I think he was the best right tackle on the market. And we'll talk about the AFC North and the Browns in a bit, but yeah, I thought they stole one right there. And then obviously the Super Bowl champs. How do you think they fared?
To me, I think they did the worst in free agency, but just by how many players they lost.
Sure.
How many difference makers they lost.
Sure.
Trevathan, Malik Jackson. They were able to get C.J. Anderson back, but I think the issue that they had, they didn't have enough time to figure out what they were going to do.
With
Peyton Manning, even with Brock Osweiler, they probably thought that they could get Brock Osweiler to a $15 million a year contract,
something team friendly.
But I think if they knew they weren't going to get Brock Osweiler back, they probably would have signed maybe Malik Jackson, at least Trevathan back. They probably would have got Trevathan
back. Well, they could have
back.
afforded Trevathan.
I give them a D. I give them a D.
That's harsh.
Yeah,
that's harsh. But I understand where you're coming from. Like I said, what tends to happen in the offseason subsequent to a championship run, an actual championship that won the Lombardi Trophy, is that teams tend to overpay. Whether or not the Jaguars overpay for Malik Jackson remains to be seen. I think Trevathan going to Chicago, making $6-7 million a year, is well worth the price of admission. They did manage to retain C.J. Anderson, which I think was a good idea. I think that was a good idea. I like the Okung Stevenson signings. I do. I don't love Donald Stevenson, but I think their improvements to their tackle situation a year ago, their second round pick last year, what was his name? Tyler Sambriello. They're going to move him into guard. I think that's where he actually belongs. Got kind of shorter arms, more of a phone booth type of player. So with the exception of Evan Mathis, I think as a whole, they might actually be a better offensive line next year. So the main question mark is, what do they do at the end of the first round? Considering what's happening in free agency, because I don't expect them to land Colin Kaepernick. I don't. I don't. I don't expect them to land Fitzpatrick. I expect Fitzpatrick to go back to New York. So do they use that first round pick on a quarterback at the end of the first round?
I think if Paxton Lynch falls to them at number 31, I think he could benefit in that Garrett Kubiak system. He's good, on the move, play action. He could do that for them. So I think if Paxton Lynch falls, they'll select their quarterback right there.
See, the thing about Paxton Lynch is first of all, I don't think he's a first round quarterback, but that's neither here nor there. It's about the league. People reach for quarterbacks, whatever the case may be. I don't think he's going to be there at the end of the first round. I think the Broncos would have to be aggressive
to trade up
to get him. To be honest with you, for instance, I don't expect Goff and Wentz to be on the board when the Rams are coming up to pick. The Rams need a quarterback.
Yeah,
they need a quarterback in the worst way. I mean, I understand Jeff Fisher is very much, we're going to run the ball first, second, and third down. But if they really think that Case Keenum is going to be their starter going into week one, it's a problem. He's not going to have a job beyond this season.
Yeah. Definitely, Cleveland needs a quarterback at 2. San Fran needs one at 7. Yep. Rams need one at 15.
Right, definitely. And then you have teams like Dallas, Chicago, who are in the market for a quarterback. So they might fall in love with one of these guys if it happens to fall to them. So I think Denver would have to move up. So
if not the quarterback, I think they should probably fill some holes that they lost in free agency.
Sure.
There's a lot of interior defensive linemen, that could come in right now and start, for Malik Jackson.
Yeah.
So I think they probably go there at the end of the first round, or they could go inside linebacker to replace Trevathan.
Sure.
Also, so
who comes to mind at inside linebacker?
In the first round is difficult because a lot of those guys like Raglan will probably be gone already. But you know, you got guys like Scooby Wright, but I don't think he's a first round talent either. So they probably can get him later in the draft.
I mean, mind you, everything is hindsight's 2020. Danny Trevathan was a 6th round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
56th round. So it's not as if guys can't be replaced. He's a known quantity, and I think he's a playmaker. So certainly his loss is big, but I don't know that they necessarily need to address inside linebacker there.
Now I think the perfect landing spot would be interior defensive
line. Okay,
There's a lot of talent.
Cool. Yeah, that's and they're gonna go. It's deep, but they're gonna go.